Guys, what's up? Welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and thanks a lot for making some time to check the video out. I know everybody's busy schedules around here, so I really appreciate you guys making some time for it today. We are going to be talking about cheaters on the Bassmaster Elite Series and on the Bass Pro Tier today. I've been wanting to do this video here for a couple weeks. I'm going to get into that, and I'll be curious to get your guys' feedback on it as well here. Also, guys, before we get started, I'd just like to invite everybody, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe here to Intuitive Angling, I'd like to invite you to do so. Right now, we just got 40% of you dudes that watch the videos are subscribed. If you like what's going on here, just hit that subscribe button. It's a good way to support the channel. No obligations, free, just and you'll never miss out on any videos. So much appreciated there. Okay, guys, the reason I'm doing this video is over the past 3 weeks or so, I have gotten, my private message box has gotten filled up with people telling me about incidents of cheating that they know about or have heard about, or, you know somebody that knows about on the Bassmaster Elite Series and the Bass Pro Tour, especially amongst younger anglers. Like it seems like overall, a lot of these younger up-and-coming 20-something-year-old anglers, that's the people they're pointing out. I'm not going to mention any names. These guys are mentioning these people by name, and some of them, there's been 2 or 3 of them that I've seen the names been repeated over and over again from people in different parts of the country. So I found that really interesting. Well, not in a good way interesting, but sort of disturbing a little bit. So I sort of wanted to speak to that a little bit as far as the this whole cheating deal. It seems to be that, it's a hot topic in fishing. It always has been. Ever since I've been fishing, I mean, cheating has been a topic in bass fishing tournaments ever since I've been fishing tournaments back in the 70s here. But specifically the type of cheating that I'm talking about here that these guys are accusing these Elite Series pros and Bass Pro Tour pros of doing don't involve like the blatant, putting weights in fish and, putting fish in stringers and catching them, that type of stuff. It has to do with cheating, breaking rule violations within the tournaments, primarily about getting information, accessing information after the off limits, after the cutoff, and some people blatantly doing it, just total disregard. And one of the things that I'm hearing over and over again, it seems like, and I've noticed this more on the messages, is more on the MLFs, on the Bass Pro Tour side than the Elite Series side, although it has existed on the Elite Series too, is how these blatant rule violations are getting swept under the rug or just brushed off by the tournament organizations. It's like when somebody makes a blatant rule violation based upon the status of that pro, sometimes there's no penalty whatsoever. It's like they just don't do anything about it simply because maybe they don't want to put their poster boys in a bad light. I'm not sure what the deal is on that, but there's been a wide range of allegations from my subscribers bringing me up to this. And like I said, there's been 3 of them that I can think of. The names keep coming up. Here's my viewpoint on breaking. It's not, I don't consider it cheating. It's breaking rules. I think right off the bat, there are way too many rules in bass tournaments. In my opinion, the only rules that we really need in bass fishing tournaments is you can't violate any state or federal regulations. You need to have, your boat needs to be, Coast Guard approved and safety approved, for the safety aspects of it. Your fish have to be caught, with 1 rod, 1 lure, all that type of stuff as far as, traditional sporting methods. In my opinion, there should be a rule where there's no forward-facing sonar allowed, and then just go fishing. I mean, as far as all these rules that put in place as far as off limits or accessing information or not accessing information, not being able to get out of your boat to push your boat over a sandbar, not being able to, carry gas or this or that, or just, there's a ton of different rules in the tournament organization, handbook that are really, that there's no real reason for them. I don't really understand why all those rules are there, but it seems like to me the main rule violation has to do with this accessing information after certain cutoff, limits with that. Now, I get it. I understand it, that there are some people out there that have a much, much more advanced information system. There's a half a dozen guys I know out there that have basically made a career from being well connected in the industry, where they get a lot of information prior to the tournament and, do well in the tournament. I can tell you one thing from my experience, and the experience I know from others, is the only times in the past that I have really accessed information is if I know somebody, like I've got a buddy that lives on a lake that I'm getting ready to go to, and I'd contact that buddy, before the cutoff, and I'd try to get some generic information on it. Guys, 99% of the time, that comes back and bites me. I've never, ever been able to catch somebody's fish. Somebody tells me, go here, do this. It's always a wild goose chase. So from that standpoint, I think a lot of people put way too much emphasis on people breaking rules or violating rules, accessing and trying to get information. And I don't know if you can even police that, because here's what happens most of the time. It's happened to me. Excuse me, guys. These dang freaking allergies, man. I've been coughing and hacking until about noon every morning. But here's the thing that happens, typical. You'll be at a tournament and you'll be filling your boat up with gas at the gas station. And there's some dude all the time, every tournament, that will come over to you. Hey, what's going on? You fishing the tournament? Yeah. Okay, you need to go over and try this or that or that. Or I caught a 20-pound bag doing this or that or that. This happens every tournament. There's without exception with that. And you can't, you want to, most of the time say, well, appreciate it, we can't get any information. Then I've had them say, well, it's a free country, I can talk if I want to. And they'll sit there and talk while I'm gassing my boat up. So from that standpoint, you cannot police that, because when somebody if somebody tries to provide you with information that you didn't solicit, are you at fault for that? Is that a violation? Should you just say you need to shut your mouth up, or should you get in your truck and start your truck up and go to a different gas station? That's the type of rules that are unenforceable. You can't do that. But at the same time, let's throw out the scenario. Let's say if I'm at a gas station, and I've been practicing for the tournament. Some guy comes up to me and says he's been ripping them, and he tells me he's been ripping them on a black and chartreuse jig or something like that. And say for example, I've been flipping or something, and I'm trying to be nice to him. I don't want to, make him mad or anything. I'm trying to be polite. And I say I've been practicing, I'm catching him flipping a brush hog. Is it a violation if I go out the next day and practice and I'm getting 2 or 3 bites on my brush hog, and then I remember what that guy says about the black and chartreuse jig? If I tie a black and chartreuse jig on, am I breaking a rule? And am I going to get disqualified for the tournament? So am I forbidden to throw a black and chartreuse jig simply because that guy told me about it? That's the gray area that I'm talking about, as far as, people getting disqualified or accused of cheating. It's sort of unenforceable, that type of thing. So, I hear all these instances out there about cheating and everything, but guys, I don't think that cheating or breaking rules is near as big of a problem as people talk about. I think the bigger problem we have in the sport is the income disparity. When you're talking about breaking rules, let's say you've got one 25-year-old Elite Series pro that comes from a wealthy family, and he's got a brand new, Ford pickup, tricked out, $80,000 truck. He's got a $120,000 bass boat with, 3 stack units up front and live scopes, 3 stack units in back, hydro wave, the whole works, $120,000 bass boat. And then you've got the next dude out there, the next 25-year-old guy that comes from a single family parent. His mom's been trying to raise him, and he's got a junky little 18-foot, aluminum tracker with a 5-inch electronic screen on it, trying to compete against him. To me, that is something that is an inequality that needs to be addressed, more than some dude getting some information at a gas station that usually winds up biting him and doesn't do any good out there. So from my standpoint, when you're talking about creating a level playing field where people are playing by the rules, we need to have standard, some type of a baseline, a standard criteria where everybody has basically got the same equipment. Say, for example, like, we should have a deal where you're only allowed to have 5 rod and reels in your boat. You're only allowed to have 20 pounds of tackle. You're only allowed to have, one electronic unit on your console and one up front. If you set a baseline like that, that makes the sport a lot more fair on every single level like that. And these guys that are worried about some of these dudes cheating in tournaments because they're getting some information here or there, or they've done something that was in a gray area, that is not what's making the difference as far as, having this level playing field. It has a lot more to do with the financial disparity that exists in our sport, and the fact that bass fishing on the tour level is not getting to be, it is an elitist sport. Make no mistake about it, guys. Tour level professional bass fishing, if you're on the Elite Series Tour, and if you're on the Bass Pro Tour, it is effectively an elitist sport. Because, and I say that because if you're going to fish either one of those tours, it's going to cost you a minimum of $100,000 just to fish before you've won one penny. So you got to have $100,000 every year to be able to put into fishing. Plus, you got to have money to live on. You got a mortgage payment, a house payment, a car payment. You got to buy food. You got to take care of your kids. You got to pay insurance. So therefore, it's almost like if you're going to fish professionally on any level, you got to be knocking down $250,000 a year almost to be able to do it. So it is an elitist sport, and it shouldn't be. It never was before. Back when I started out, back in the 80s out there, if I made it, anyone could make it. Because, guys, I was working part-time jobs, going to school, mowing grass to scrape up enough money to get to these tournaments, and I was able to do it. You can't do that anymore. So anyway, back to the topic of cheating there. It's like, yeah, I'm hearing all this stuff about guys cheating, breaking rules and that type of stuff. But like I said, I think there's way too many rules, man. I really do. I think there's rules that handcuff people unfairly as far as using their ingenuity and their creativity in tournaments. And I think that basically money is allowed to give certain people free reign in the sport. And if there's any unfair advantage or injustices out there, it's the fact that we have just too big of an income disparity in the sport. So anyway, guys, let me know what you all think. I'd be curious, and we'll talk later. See you.